guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming a workout video for you. I've decided I haven't done one of these in a really long time, and now that I'm a personal trainer now at a gym, I thought like, hey, why not give something a little bit different? So today's workout that I filmed for you was a dumbbell only leg workout. I know some people don't have access to a gym or they're not comfortable going to a gym. This workout is very minimal equipment. I know the trend going around right now is like the shy girl workout, and I think this is perfect for even if you are in a gym and you are not very comfortable around people and you're not very comfortable with the free weight area. This is great because all you need is a pair of dumbbells. This workout is also very apartment friendly. So like I said, if you have very limited equipment, this can also be done in your apartment building or in your apartment gym if your apartment gym is very limited in equipment as well. Okay, so I don't want to ramble on any longer, so let's just get started into this workout. So what we're going to start with, we're going to start with our warm-up. I think warm-ups are super crucial to every workout. If you don't warm up, you're not going to get your full range of motion and your full mobility in every movement. And honestly, I personally feel really stiff or really uncomfortable if I don't do a full body warm-up or a full mobility warm-up before my workout, depending on what I'm doing. That's why I always highly suggest, even to my clients, we always start with a full body or a lower body, whatever we're training that day, warm up. So our first warm up is going to be our wall sits. I think doing wall sits are a great warm up for the legs and lower body. And as well, while you're doing this set of wall sits, you can do your upper body mobility and warm up, depending on how you want to do this workout. Like I said, this workout is very apartment friendly, very limited equipment, but you can make this workout with some barbells or heavier weights if you have access to those things. So don't be afraid to make this workout how you want. Like I said, free weights, dumbbells, cables. If you have access to all those things, go ahead and use them. So like I said, we are starting with wall sits. So I held this wall sit for probably about 30 to 45 seconds. And during that time, I did my wall shoulder presses as well as my rotator cuff mobility. And I did each movement for about 10 to 12 reps, depending on how I was feeling or depending on how tight I am. This also varies on you, how tight or loose you already feel. So this next warm up we're gonna be doing is leg swings. I love these, especially for deadlift and squat days. So for these, you're just going to swing your leg back and forth 20 times, front and back. Leg swings are going to warm up your hips. They're going to open them up, well as you should feel a nice little stretch in your glute and your hamstring just as you're swinging back and forth. I love this warm out. I think it feels so good because it gets me all loose and ready to be able to do squats or deadlifts comfortably. It also helps me find my balance and stability throughout the rest of my workout because a lot of the time I will either progress and take my hand off the wall or like lightly place my hand on the wall so that I can find that balance on my bottom leg to find the stability and balance throughout the entire workout. This warm-up is also another personal favorite of mine. I have almost all of my clients do this warm-up because I think it is super easy and it's super helpful for everybody. So this is a walking toe touch. In this movement, all you're gonna do, you have to hinge at the hips. You can bend your bottom leg so that you get that nice stretch in your hamstrings and as well as your glutes and your calves. But during this movement, the only hard thing is that a lot of people don't realize that you need to keep your back straight. So like I said, form is very similar to like you would do for a deadlift form. You have to hinge at the hips, you got to keep your lats packed and your upper back straight so that you can get that nice stretch in the hamstring and the glute. So you really want to make sure that you do this movement slowly and be steady, because if you rush through it, you're not going to feel the full range of motion and you're not going to feel the full benefit from doing this warm-up if you're not going slow and steady. So after these warm-ups, you should feel very loose, very ready to go. Obviously, you are allowed to implement your own warm-ups before any of these workouts. These are just ones that I like to suggest because I only need to do these ones to feel ready for my workout. So moving into the actual workout portion of this video, we are starting off with some dumbbell deadlifts. So these are a little bit different than like RDLs or even doing a sumo deadlift with dumbbells. So these ones, you want to keep the dumbbells at the sides next to your feet. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep your hands in a neutral position facing your body, and you're going to push through the floor and stand up basically like you would in a deadlift. This is still a full body movement, so you should feel everything. It's the same form as a regular deadlift. You want to keep your upper back straight and tight as well as your lats packed. And you really want to focus on your core in there because this movement is super easy to kind of let your back take over because it is technically a deadlift where your back naturally, if your core is weak or your core is just not being used, your back will take over. So where the weight is distributed, this is more a quad focused movement. So you really want to make sure that you're driving your heels through the floor, just like in a normal deadlift. We are moving into a sumo deadlift slash squat. Some would say that this is a deadlift and some would say this is a squat. I'd like to say that this is more of a squat just because we are using a dumbbell and not a barbell. I think if we were using a barbell in this movement, this would definitely be more a sumo deadlift. So all of the same things still apply form-wise, keeping your back straight, lats packed, hinging at the hips, and keeping your core engaged the whole time. Obviously, since this is a sumo deadlift or squat, you wanna make sure that you have a nice wide stance with your toes pointed outwards. And throughout the entire movement, you wanna make sure that you keep everything engaged. You wanna make sure that there's tension on your glutes as well as a squeeze the entire way through. Not just at the top, you wanna make sure that your glutes are being squeezed throughout the entire movement. You wanna make sure that this movement is also working your inner thighs. The next movement we are moving into is a single leg Romanian deadlift or single leg RDLs. Like I said, all form still applies. Hinge the hips, keep everything engaged. Really want to make sure that your core is really working during this movement because it is super easy for your back again to take over or to really be tired out. So you want to have a staggered stance for this one. So you want to make sure that you're using your back foot just for balance, but you're not actually physically using it as a working part of the movement. And if this movement is done properly, you should feel this in your hamstrings and in your glutes, but mostly in your hamstrings because that is what this is geared towards. So moving on to hip thrusts. I love hip thrusts. Hip thrusts are great for growing your glutes. So now since I used a dumbbell, I also used a resistance band with these. But if you are using a barbell, you do not need to unless you feel like you want to or you really want to challenge yourself. Go ahead, use the resistance band. It doesn't do anything but help you and grow stronger and keeping your knees pushed out rather than caving in during the movement. So if you are using a dumbbell, you want to make sure that you're using a comfortable weight where it's not going to physically hurt your hips by using it. So during the movement, you want to keep your chin tucked. You want to keep your shoulder blades up on whatever you are using. If you are using a bench or a block, you really want to make sure that your shoulder blades are up on that and you're not sliding down. And on the way up, you really want to squeeze your glutes so that you're feeling that full squeeze because, like I said, this movement is really working the glutes. Our last and our final exercise is step-ups. Step-ups are a common thing I see in the gym that are done improperly, and I actually did them not right for a really long time because I didn't realize the way that the movement was actually supposed to be until I learned and was found out that the way I was doing them was not the way they were supposed to be. So now every time I instruct someone to do step-ups, I always make sure that they're doing it the right way because doing step-ups this way works so much better, and I never realized that I was never feeling the movement in the right spot, nor was I really feeling it at all. So for step-ups, no matter what you're using, if you're using a box or a bench, one of those padded blocks, whatever you're using, you want to make sure that your foot is on it and it is planted. You do not want to move it and you don't want to take it off unless you're doing alternating step-ups. And personally, I do not like alternating step-ups. I think that just step-ups with a single leg works so much better rather than doing alternating. So you want to make sure that front foot is planted up on the block. Now your back foot should bear no weight, especially when it comes onto the floor, unless it is being used for balance because you're losing your balance or something like that. That is the only time it should be bearing weight. I only bear weight on it for that purpose. So you really want to make sure that your back foot bears no weight. It's just a tap on the floor because you don't want to use this at all during the movement. So what you want to do is you want to keep your knee in line with your toe and you want to be pressed forward just a little bit so that you're past a 90-degree angle. So a lot of the time I see this movement as a rocking movement. We are not rocking in this position. We are not rocking back and forth. We are going straight up and straight down. You want to make a line or I guess you should draw a line straight up and down while doing this movement. And if you're doing this correctly, you should be working your quads and your glutes. And trust me, like I said, if you're doing it right, you will feel a much bigger burn in both of those areas than the way you were doing it before. And that is it for the workout. Like I said, this is a very simple, minimal equipment workout. So something I want to talk about real quick just before I end this video is your cool down and your stretching. I think this is super important. I think stretching, rolling out, and doing a cool down mobility after your leg days or after any day, honestly, is going to be super beneficial for you and how you feel afterwards, the way that your recovery will be, and how sore you'll be the next day or the next few days. I find personally that if I do not stretch or roll out or do any type of mobility after any of my workouts, I feel so sore and that my recovery is a longer process than what it should be. Rather than when I do actually do a post-workout recovery, I feel so much better the next day and the next few days, and I feel like I can get back into the gym and get back into doing that muscle group quicker. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this workout, and if you try it, just let me know. Like I said, again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias, as well as subscribing to my channel, because it really helps me out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.